in the meantime. So anyway, officially this time now, welcome everyone to today's third session of the IAPC&M Special CPD Building Masterclass on the World Mental Health and Wellbeing Awareness. Sorry, I was trying to click somebody away and got my words mixed up. My name is Julie Kennedy and I am your host based in the Netherlands. Now, should you have missed them, we have already had two fantastic sessions today around this very important topic. So you can find the replays of our first session of the day, which was Zentangle with Ruby McGuire and Self-Care Without Guilt with Teresa Mack on our site. I would really not miss them. Now, before I move on to introducing our third speaker today, for whom we are very grateful, all of this dedicated to mental health awareness, I would like to remind you, for those joining us only now, that Dawn and Teresia are available all day on the other Zoom link for all of you, whether you're a member or not, basically for anyone needing a quiet, safe space to have a chat over a cup of tea. Maybe you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed or anxious about anything at all, so don't hesitate. This is all part of being aware today. So on we go with our third session with another powerful topic brought to us by accredited empowerment and well-being coach, Paula Madden. So welcome, Paula.
Thank you.
Before we get into it, just some housekeeping. Our call today will be a maximum of 1 hour, including 15 minutes Q&A. The session is recorded, so please mute yourself when not requested to unmute, but your video on so the speaker can see they're not talking to themselves. Maybe a good idea to use the chat box for any questions and suggestions, which we'll take at a certain moment. Like that, you're sure you don't forget them. Unless you have a burning issue, just raise your hand. I hope, of course, you have your CPD pad and pen ready so that you can take copious notes and put this into practice afterwards. So another crucial topic today, especially as we were saying in today's frantic society, from worry to well-being. Even just saying that's making me calm down. So over to you, Paula.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Julie, and thank you to everyone else who's here today. As Julie said, my name's Paula and I'm Paula Madden from Paula Madden Coaching, and today I'm bringing you a masterclass that's really going to support you in moving from worry to well-being, and I'm going to be focusing on helping you to boost your self-esteem, to feel more vibrant and to feel more confident in your everyday life. And my aim is for you to go away with lots of practical ideas and practical techniques that you can start to bring into your life right away. And I am a very interactive person, so I'm going to be asking questions as we go along, and I've got some little exercises for us to do as well that you can start to use yourself straight away. So before we begin, I just wanted to share my screen, and I'm just going to share a little bit about me and how I became who I am today, because that's all part of the well-being journey. So just bear with me a second. Okay, so this is the masterclass that we're going to do, feeling more confident, vibrant, and just to be able to stand tall in who we are as people. And this is me. I was a teacher for nearly 20 years until I became so ill that I couldn't work anymore. I was pushing myself all the time. I was working long hours, worrying constantly, and it just got to the point where I couldn't go on, and I ended up being diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome with fibromyalgia, and I was in a wheelchair. I couldn't lift my arms up to wash my own hands. My husband had to do everything for me. I was using a mobility scooter when I went outside, but it was coaching and using different forms of well-being and energy psychology that allowed me to heal. And today I can go on a bike ride. I can just live a normal life today, and I'm very grateful for that. And that is why I wanted to become a coach, because I wanted to share some of my experiences and to help other people and support other people, hopefully before they get to that point in life that they can't go on. So one of the things I'm going to be focusing on today is the 4 pillars of well-being. And that's what, throughout this masterclass, we'll work through the 4 pillars. And by the end, hopefully you'll have strategies that will help boost your self-esteem and your confidence and help you to feel more vibrant in the world. So the 4 pillars, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, are like the 4 legs of a table. So if one of the pillars is out of balance or the leg's broken, then the table won't stand up. So that's just like us. If we're not physically well, it affects every other pillar. You know, I've really got the belief that we're a whole person. We're not just our physical well-being. Every part of our holistic health matters, and that's why I'm passionate about this work, because it helped me so much, and I'm excited to share with you what I've got for you today. So we'll begin by focusing on the first pillar, which is physical well-being. Okay, so first I wanted to talk briefly about signs that your physical well-being might be out of balance. And sometimes these things just creep up on us. You know, it takes time, and it can be very slow until you get to the point that I got to. And one of them is where if you're starting to notice that you're getting coughs and colds a lot, because that's a sign that your immune system's depleting. And it's all basically caused by the overproduction of adrenaline and cortisol, which is all to do with worry. You know, you're worrying all the time. If you're starting to rush around a lot, you'll find that maybe at night you haven't calmed down properly, so then you might start to have difficulty sleeping. And as well as that, when you're producing a lot of cortisol or adrenaline, it sort of sits in your body and causes aches and pains and tension, which also leads to illnesses and feelings of stress. So I'd love to know if anyone identifies with this, if anyone's had any of these feelings themselves, just pop anything into the chat. I don't know whether I can actually see the chat, Julie, but if you could let me know if anyone does pop anything into the chat.
Yeah, exactly. I'll let you know.
Thank you. Because as I said, I'd love to have lots of participation. So
Well,
yeah,
there we
what
are. I've just written down sure have. To answer your
I can't
question.
see it. Yes, I can see it. It's come up. That's great. Thank you. So what we're going to do for our first little activity today is some breathing, a little breathing technique. And I'm sure lots of you already do it, but first of all, I wanted to talk, sorry, I've jumped ahead of myself. I do apologise. If you notice in the corner here, I've got this little post-it note. And what I'm talking about here is whenever you're doing an activity, to be 100% focused on the activity that you're doing. So this is mindfulness, 100% focused on that activity. Be aware of your breath, because when we're breathing shallowly, we're automatically sending a message to the amygdala that we're in danger, which starts to take us into the fight or flight response. And that can be just done unconsciously without realizing it. So that's very, very important. The breath is so important. And to also make sure to do things a little bit slower. Just by slowing down by 30%, you will start to notice a difference in your well-being. And when I was recovering from my health conditions, I had these post-it notes all over the house, just to remind myself to slow down, just to say, hang on a minute, you're rushing a little bit here, just take your time. You know, things will always get done, and they probably get done in a better way if you're more focused. So as well as this, one of the things, obviously, I'm sure you all know, is just to bring some exercise into your life. Even if it's just a few stretches, even if it's just 2 minutes in the morning, just stretching your arms and stretching your legs, or just going for a little walk around the garden, can help to boost endorphins and start to calm your nervous system down again. And another thing is to stand up during the day, especially when you're working at a desk, and especially if you're working from home. It can be easier to be kind of just stuck in one room and you're not really seeing anybody else. You're not even look out of the window. So just stand up, because when we stand up, we see things from a different perspective. You're actually seeing the world from a different view, and that not only helps physically, but it helps you mentally and emotionally as well. I think someone's just put something in the chat. Let me see. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dilla. Yes, it's so important to remember to breathe, because the breath is what keeps us anchored in the present moment. So you're just taking that time to focus on what you're doing, really slow down, and you'll notice that you can sleep better at night, because as I've said, I know you'll hear me saying it all the time. It's all about your nervous system, keeping your nervous system nice and calm. If you're rushing around and doing things too quickly, then you'll worry more because as I said, you're in a flight or fight response. So yeah, doing that, making sure you've got a really healthy sleep habits, trying to go to bed at the same time, not looking at screens, etc. And then you'll have a better thought processes when you wake up the next day. You'll be more clear in your mind. You know, it's easy. When I was ill, one of the things was the brain fog. The brain fog was horrendous at times that I just couldn't think straight. So yeah, and also drinking plenty of water and having lots of healthy, nutritious food if you can. And I know running your own business, especially because it can be different hours that you work, and as a coach, you know, sometimes you have to work in the evening and then you might work at different times during the day. It can be difficult to organise meals, but just taking that time for yourself, just saying to yourself, you know, I'm going to plan in the time in your diary so that you have got time to prepare your meals and things like this. So now we're going to move on to the breathing technique. And there's lots of different breathing techniques that people can do. There's alternate nostril breathing that you might have maybe done in yoga. This breathing I'm going to share with you now is called box breathing, and maybe you've tried it before. If you haven't, just give it a go and see how you feel. There's other types of breathing called 3-7-8, sorry, 4-7-8 breathing, and they can all help to relax you and help you to sleep as well, which is really important. So what we'll do now, we're going to have a little go at the box breathing. I'll explain it first just so it's clear. And when you try it, if you notice you're going a little bit lightheaded or something, just bring yourself back to your normal breathing because that's completely normal. If most people don't breathe into their diaphragm, they just breathe shallowly. So when you start to breathe properly, it can at first make you go a little bit dizzy or lightheaded, but don't worry about that because that's just practice. So if I explain about the box breathing first, and you'll understand then why it's called box breathing if you don't already know. So if you breathe in for 4, it's the first part of the box. Then you hold for 4, it's the second part of well, it's a square really. So breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4, breathe in for 4, and then you're just going around like this, like a box. And then you can sort of, if you're a visual person, you can see it in your mind's eye. So what I'll do, I'll introduce you to it, but I won't count so that you can do it at your own pace. And then it'll be too difficult anyway because I won't be able to breathe and count at the same time. So I'll just if you just want to, first of all, just close your eyes. If you're sitting where you can, put your feet on the ground. And just, first of all, if you'd just like to begin to focus on your breath. And if you can breathe in and out through your nose, that's even better. If you can't, that's fine. Just do whatever's comfortable for you. The most important thing is that you feel comfortable doing it. And then when you're ready, if you slowly begin to breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold. Then I'll just leave you now to just do a couple of moments on your own with that breathing. Okay, so when you're ready, if you just like to bring yourself back into the room, and just let me know if you want to in the chat have that felt. how it felt to just do that bit of breathing. And you can do that anytime you want in the day. That's the beauty of it, that you can, you can just stop whenever you want to and just do a little bit of breathing, just a couple of minutes, and it will help you to just come back to center, just to feel that little bit calmer. Thanks. Thank you. That's really kind of you. Thanks, Dawn. Thanks, Julie. Thank you. Okay, so the next pillar on the physical, after the physical pillar, is the emotional pillar. Okay, so we're just going to go over some of the signs that this might be out of balance. And as I said, as it is with the physical pillar, sometimes it just creeps up on us. We don't realise what's happening, and suddenly you might notice yourself becoming a little bit more irritable. You might be finding that you're becoming tearful more easily, or you're on a very short fuse, and you're starting to find it more difficult to manage stress and challenging situations. You might find that things that you could cope with now seem overwhelming, and this is all a sign that you're starting to become drained emotionally, that you're not sort of resourced as you could be. And other things, you might be starting to become more anxious and worrying, and even things like when you hear a loud noise, you might suddenly jump where you hadn't before, is all a sign that you're becoming frazzled in a lot of ways, that things are just becoming difficult. They're all just little warning signs, and they're just ringing a bell, really, that maybe it's time to just stop for a second and look at what you can do to help yourself. And this sort of thing can also lead to, if you are kind of struggling emotionally and you're not really fully aware of what's going on for you, you might find yourself becoming more prone to having arguments, difficulties with relationship, or just withdrawing from loved ones, because especially in our society today, it's often frowned upon to talk about your feelings, or you should be putting it all together. I've got to be strong for the family, this sort of stuff, and not really asking for help when you need it. So just to be aware that these things happen and it's completely normal. Everyone in life goes through these periods in time where things become a little bit more difficult. It could be something that's triggered from the outside, something that's happened to you, or as we were sharing earlier on, Julie, there's wars, there's COVID, the terrible things that are happening at the moment in Florida. We're human beings and we've got emotions, and they can be triggered very easily. So thankfully, there's lots of things that we can do to help ourselves to, to overcome and to feel a little bit better. And one of them is just to become aware of your emotions, just to start to identify them, because often you might find yourself saying, oh, I feel horrible, I feel terrible, without actually identifying what the emotion is. Is it sadness? Are you feeling angry? Do you feel upset? Are you feeling lonely? And just by identifying it, you can start to take the sting out of it and give it less power over you. And this favourite of everyone, I'm sure, especially as coaches, the gratitude. There's always something to be grateful for. The roof over your head, water in the tap. Just the very simple things that we can just go and turn the tap on and have a drink of water is something to be grateful for. The people in our lives who care about us and who we care about, they're just the very basic ones to just make you feel a little bit better emotionally. And then one of the things I love, and I am also a practitioner of EFT, is emotional freedom technique, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, it's about tapping around on the different meridians in your body, which are linked to the meridians of acupuncture, because basically emotions are energy in motion and they can become stuck in your body. But when we tap around the meridians, the energy begins to move and the emotions begin to get released, and they all again lose their sting, which is very, very powerful. And also just the simple things, just talk to a friend, even if it's just picking up the phone and just having a chat with someone, or just going outside like this lucky person here, sitting out in the sun having a nice cuppa. You know, just something simple can be so powerful. And it's often the simple things that we forget to do to look after our emotional well-being and the simple bits of self-care. For me, that's things like going out into nature. I personally love nature, just to connect with the air outside and the trees growing. And I'd love to know, just for everybody, just so we can support each other, what other people like to do for their self-care. If anyone would like to put it into the chat, what kind of self-care you do when you might start to feel yourself feeling a little bit depleted emotionally. If anyone would like to share with us. Oh, thank you, Sylvia. I'm glad you enjoyed the breathing. Just checking the chat, thank you. Yes, I love yoga as well, and swimming, and dancing is a great one to just completely take you out of yourself. Out the beach. Yeah, I love that one too. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Nafazim. I hope I've done it properly. Yeah, I live close to the beach. I'm very lucky. I can walk to the beach from where I live, so I love that too. Very, very lucky. Yeah, so as I say, there's lots of different things, and just simple things that can bring you back to centre. So we're going to just do another little activity called Name It to Tame It. And what happens here when we're emotional? We're in the emotional side of our brain, and that is linked again to the amygdala, to the fight or flight response. So we're releasing lots of chemicals and that affect the body. You know, if you're feeling really frightened, you're releasing adrenaline and cortisol and things. But when we actually name the emotion, it brings it into the logical brain, and that's when we can think, hang on a minute, what can I do here? So we're just going to have a little go at this now. You might have an emotion. Hopefully everyone feels great today. I hope you all do. But I'll just go through how you do it if you did have that thing where you say to yourself, I feel terrible, but you're not quite sure what it is. So if you just spend a second or two, if you just rest and put your hand on your heart or your stomach and just take a deep breath and just identify an emotion. And if you want to, you can come up with an emotion that you maybe do feel now and then, so perhaps you feel yourself being annoyed, or, just that you're often feeling anxious. If you just breathe into that for a second. And first of all, just by identifying it, you've already started to take the power out of it. You've already started to move it away from from the sting that it can have. So just take a nice deep breath, noticing that emotion, and just ask yourself, what's this telling me? If I'm angry, do I need to go and talk to somebody? Do I need to take a step back and look at my role in whatever's happened? If I'm lonely, would it help me to reach out to somebody? How can I support myself right now? Just asking yourself those simple questions can really help you to solve your own problem or your own issue. And this is something that can really build your self-esteem, because you're saying to yourself, I'm important enough that I want to do something about this. So if you've got your eyes closed, if you just open them now, thank you. You're saying, okay, I'm important enough to look at my emotions and to say, okay, what can I do for myself right now? What's going on for me right now? How can I value myself right now? And this is really something that is empowering and really powerful to build up your self-esteem. Okay, so I just wanted to have a quick look at the chat because I think some other people have oh, a nice bubble bath, yes, that's nice. And spending time with loved ones, yeah, I love that too. And colouring or crafting, journaling, watching the sunset, lovely. Yeah, just I noticed there's a theme here of going outside and also being with loved ones. It's so important because the people who love us and who we love, is it that connection that emotional connection is so powerful to help to lift us up. So thank you everyone for your shares and for contributing. So the next pillar that we're going to be looking at is the mental pillar. And this is obviously very poignant for our day today because it's all about mental health awareness. So one of the first signs here is just when you're starting to notice the mental chatter becoming more and more, so it's so powerful that you're having difficulty concentrating. And it's also important to remember that our brains were programmed to think. We're always thinking, constantly thinking. But when it comes to being that powerful that it's stopping you from functioning, then that's when it's time to look at what you can do to start to calm it down. Because they can lead to forgetfulness and poor concentration, difficulty focusing, and that can start to affect us emotionally then. You know, you might start to think that you've got an illness. If you keep forgetting things. I know I sometimes think, because my mum got Alzheimer's, that, oh, it's happening to me. You know, just things like that. It's easy to get, it's like a snowball, basically, and you can get caught up in that kind of thinking that can start to cause you worries and emotional problems, and then obviously it affects you physically as well. And probably one of the horriblest parts is when you start to criticizing yourself and just ruminating about something that's happened. Maybe who doesn't do this 5 years ago, 10 years ago, still going on about it, still having it like a record playing in your brain, which all leads to mental exhaustion, you know, and just feeling that everything's difficult in life and everything's hard. And it's, as I've said, these things can happen. It might last a couple of weeks or it might last longer, but there's always ways to try to just overcome it gently with self-compassion and love. So one of the things that I love here is just to, again, linking back to the physical pillar, because as I said, they all fit in together. It's just going outside into nature. Let me just go on to the next slide. And having what I call a mindful moment, and I'm sure it's not my invention. I didn't make it up. I'm sure you've all heard of it. And one of a really good way to do this is just setting a reminder on your phone to go off every hour. You can just set a little clock to, there's apps as well. You can download an app. It just rings a little bell every hour. And the reason why I love this one so much is because when it goes off, you can stand up. So you're doing your physical, and you can look out of the window or whatever, so you're getting a different perspective. So it covers a lot, just that mindful moment. And you can even do some stretches, or if you do EFT, just do a little bit of tapping on yourself. So it's a very simple thing to do, but it's very, very powerful because it covers all of the pillars. It doesn't just cover one pillar, it covers all of them. So it's really really helpful. And then the other thing, and someone's already mentioned this, which was great, is doing things to stimulate your brain, such as reading, even if you're only reading novels. I say only, because it gets your brain thinking and you're using your imagination even without realizing it, because especially if you're a visual person, you'll be picturing things in your mind, the scene that you're reading about. And one of the things that we used to actually do with the children, and because I worked with younger children, would read them a story but wouldn't show them the pictures, and then we'd ask them to go and draw what they'd seen, and you'd be surprised. You know, we don't really tap into our imaginations when we grow up, so to speak, if we do grow up. But it's a really good way, because reading, you can't see what it's so individual, and it can take you into another world, you know, and really change your mental outlook. Or doing puzzles, and some people have already mentioned the creative things that they do, like colouring, knitting, you know, anything like that. I learned how to sew. That was my final step to healing when I had ME and CFS. I learned how to sew, and I did have a small business where I made things for dogs, bandanas and little bags and stuff like that, because I had a little dog too and I loved it. It was the final thing, because I think it brought my brain really into the more creative side, the more feminine side, which was the final step to my healing. So I know it works, you know, it's really powerful stuff. And the other tools for really calming down mentally and just bringing you back to center is things like meditation. And again, even if it's just 2 minutes a day, that's all it needs to be. It doesn't need to be half an hour. It doesn't need to be even 10 minutes, just 2 minutes of breathing. Or there's lots and lots of apps now. We're very lucky, you know, that's the beauty of technology. I know it can sometimes drive us crazy, but the beauty of it is we can use it in beneficial ways to be able to just pick up on a meditation or something, a guided meditation. And another really powerful tool is journaling. And what I'm talking about here, I'm not talking about answering questions as such, although that can be beneficial. If you really have got your head and it's just constantly like the wheels are constantly turning, it can be good to just do a brain dump, to just write everything down, and you don't need to look at it again. You can just throw it in the bin. You can just crunch it up into, or recycle, sorry, you can recycle it, the paper, and it's just a way of emptying your brain of any thoughts that are starting to really overwhelm you or starting to cause a lot of mental chatter. And then the final one is to reframe your thoughts. And I'm going to do a little exercise on this in a second, but I just wondered if anyone's got any other kind of things that they do to help them when they've got a lot of mental chatter or they're feeling as if their thoughts are overwhelming them. I know one of the things that I always loved to do was take the dog to the park. That was one of my go-to things. If I felt that I couldn't figure something out or I couldn't work something out and I was getting really stressed, I'd just go out with the dog. And I found that really helpful. So do just share as you go along as well. Anything that comes to you, I'd love to hear. Okay, so we're just going to do a little activity now called, it's called POP. This is something that I did something similar in my own healing, but this is a much simpler version that I put together. And it's all about rewiring your brain, because our brains, as I'm sure you know, are just like plasticine, and we can rewire our neural pathways by the way we think. So no matter how awful you might be feeling and thinking, oh, there's something wrong with me, you can rewire your brain to think in a different way. So what the basic format of it is, if you feel as if you are thinking something over and over again, a negative thought about yourself or a negative worry, if you just notice it when it pops into your head, just say the word pop, and you can even click your fingers, pop, and immediately it will distract you from what the thought is. And then when that happens, just pause, just for a second, and breathe. And then just observe the thought. Just, you've separated yourself from the thought or the emotion. As soon as you've done pop and you've done a little breathing, you've immediately removed yourself from it. So it's here, there, and just let it float away. Literally, and then just change, reframe it into something else. You know, maybe you've made a mistake and you say, oh, I'm a stupid thing. And then just reframe it and say, I'm doing my best right now. It's just so simple. That's how easy it is. And then just repeat that again. And another way to kind of reinforce this is to, I know I said about the mindful moment, you can also have little affirmations coming up a different time, hopefully on your phone, or you'll be buzzing all day. But I have my affirmations coming up at 1:15 only 3 times a day. And it's just something to be, just to remember to be positive, because our brains are kind of wired for negativity, but it's easy to just switch it to something positive. And again, as I shared earlier on about standing up and taking the mindful moment, this can also be done to help with the mental well-being. And if you can, just take yourself out to a park, especially in the UK. I know some people here might not be from the UK, but in the UK, there's parks in every little town or some greenery somewhere that you can go to. I'm a tree hugger. Other people might not be, but I do like hugging trees, and it's just who I am. I love it. And just listen to your breathing. Even just stopping and listen to your breathing from a bit will help. Okay, thank you. Okay, and then we're just going to move on to the final pillar, which is spiritual well-being. And I'm not talking about being religious, or you don't have to have any beliefs like that to have a spiritual connection. I'm talking about being part of something bigger, and we're all part of this planet. You know, just to have that feeling that you're part of the world. And I believe we're all connected, but if you don't believe that, you can still have a spiritual connection and you can still work on your spiritual pillar. So the signs that your spiritual pillar might be out of balance is where you start to feel lost in life and a bit just like you're drifting through life without any real clear direction or any meaning, just kind of going through the motions. Or you might feel as if you're disconnected from your values and not doing what truly matters to you. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people here are coaches and you know what your values are, but a lot of people don't really know what their values are. So for example, if your value, one of your values is well, to learn new things and you're doing the same thing every day, you're gonna slowly start to feel more and more just pulling you down because you're not living to the way that lights you up, if that makes sense. To live by your values will light you up. If you're doing the things that light you up, then you are living by your values. Um, and you're doing things that truly matter to you. And we've all got gifts to give in the world. Each and every one of us has got gifts. And by understanding our values, we can give those gifts to ourselves and to other people, and that's important. And then another one is to just, if you're lacking in a peace and you're in turmoil all the time, and as I'm sure you can see, that could come through the other pillars. If you're not feeling good emotionally, then you might not feel peaceful. If you're tired all the time, it's very difficult to feel at peace with yourself, because I think tiredness is one of the worst things to have as a human being, because you can't really be there for other people either. And then if you're not really feeling joyful, all of these, I know they very much link into emotional well-being as well, but they are a sign that your spiritual well-being is out of balance a little bit. So how do we bring it back into balance? Okay, so again, meditation that I talked about earlier, because when we start to bring in a little meditation practice and clearing the mind, we can better connect to our inner self and to our inner voice, which will tell us what our values are and what we really want to be doing in life. So as I said earlier on, just a couple of minutes a day, and guided meditation to begin with if you find it difficult, because often just focusing on your breath can be hard if you've got a lot of mental chatter and you're not used to it. Some people say I can't meditate, but everyone can. It just takes practice and to find the right meditation for you, because everyone meditates in different ways. We've all got different brains, our brains work in different ways, but there are obviously basics to them. So just finding the one that works for you, the form that works for you, and just, you will start it very quickly, it starts to work. Meditation, it will work very, very quickly. You'll start to feel the benefits of it very quickly. And again, just reflecting on your values. Are you aligned with your values? Is the job you're doing or the work you're doing truly aligned with what your values are? You know, as I said, if your value is to experience new things all the time and you're in the same kinds of work, doing the same thing day in and day out, then you won't be. And again, as I mentioned, spending time in nature and just spending time doing the things that bring you joy. And I'd love to know in the chat what those things are for everybody. One of my favourite things that always brought me joy was going to the park with our little dog, but he passed away sadly. So I miss him terribly, but I had to find other avenues. And one of the things I found was I've started to do conscious connected breathing, which is really helping me to feel even more grounded. So yeah, let me know in the comments, please, what you do to what brings you joy and what lights you up and really helps you to feel connected to other people in the world around you, because that's what spiritual well-being is. It doesn't have to be angels or anything like that. It's about being connected, feeling like you're part of something bigger. And we all are. I truly believe that. I can't really see there it is though. So let me know, and if anyone would like to share that, I'd love to hear about it. Yes, that's lovely, of course. Just saying hello to people, Julia. I noticed because when I was first healing from my chronic illness and I'd walk around and I'd be saying morning to people, it was better during the day because the people were more friendly. I don't know why. But the people who didn't go to work probably in the same 9 to 5 every day seemed to be a little bit more friendly than the people later on who were probably stressed, rushing home to get on with their day. So yeah, that's something that really benefited me as well, just saying good morning to people. Okay, so I'm just going to move on to the another little exercise for us about self-compassion, because I mean, who here doesn't criticize themselves at times? I don't think there's a human being in the world. I'd like to meet the person who does, because I would love to know what the trick is. But I think most people at times are judgmental against themselves. Um, you know, but when we can learn to be more compassionate towards ourselves, it becomes much easier to deal with challenges. And that was similar to what I was sharing before with the emotional well-being, and the mental well-being, that it can be really difficult to deal with things when we have so many negative thoughts going on in our head, or we're criticizing ourselves all the time. Everything seems difficult. So just by spending a bit of time showing ourselves some compassion, we can start to be able to deal with things in a much more calm and much more nourishing way. So we're just going to do a little exercise. I haven't got a slide for it, but we'll do it together and I'll guide you through it. And I just had another comment there from somebody. Let me see. Yes, it does make you feel more joyful, definitely. Oh, that's lovely. Well, thank you, Dilla. Just laughing and that's now daily reflections and keeping a gratitude journal. I love that one too, because I think keeping a gratitude journal, when you're feeling a bit rubbish, you can go back and look at your gratitude journal and just helps to remind you of what, because sometimes it can be difficult to tune into the gratitude if you are feeling a little bit down in the dumps or stressed. You think, I haven't got time to be looking about gratitude, but having a booklet to look back on is a really good idea. Thank you. Thanks for that. So we're just going to do a little self-compassion exercise now. So again, if you'd like to just close your eyes gently, just invite you to close your eyes. And if you can, begin to breathe in and out through your nose, if that's comfortable for you. The breath through the nose is a lot more powerful than the mouth, because that's how we're designed to breathe. We're designed to breathe through our nose. But if you can't, don't worry, it'll still work just the same. So just really starting to become centered, focusing on your breath. And then if you feel comfortable too, just bring your hand to your heart or your stomach. And this is something again that you can do anytime that you want to. And I just invite you to repeat after me. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I be kind to myself in this moment. May I be kind to myself in this moment. Okay. So if you just want to gently bring yourself back to the room, and this can be used as an affirmation as well. We was going back to pop that I shared with you earlier on. What you're doing is changing the negative thought into a positive affirmation, and affirmations have been proven to, in 21 days, they can rewire your brain. You can change your thought pattern within 21 days. Okay, so I did share at the beginning about standing tall and being confident, and some scientific evidence here that if you stand like a superhero, then you feel like a superhero. So again, when you're standing up for your physical well-being, you could put your hands on your hips, just breathe and say, may I be kind to myself in this moment. Put your hands on your heart. So it's they can all be brought together. That's what I love about it all. You can bring it all into just one simple little thing in your day and just do it maybe every now and then throughout the day. It doesn't have to be spending 2 hours in the morning, getting yourself that you're that tired by the time the day begins, you can't do anything. They're just simple little things for you to bring into your day that you can start right away if you want to. So that is more or less the last slide for now. I have got a gift for everyone that I'll share in a minute, but I just wanted, let me just stop my share and just ask if
Thank
anyone
you.
would
Well,
like
first of all,
to.
thank you, because I think
No,
this is
thank you.
really what we need for nowadays. And because we're bombarded all the time with all of this, to have these techniques to go back to and try to make a habit, right, of catching
Yes,
ourselves
yes,
and using one of them to bring ourselves back. And it's just wonderful to see that these don't cost anything. It's just us. It's just literally having that trigger to not just let yourself go roller coasting into all of this stress or negativity, etc., to catch ourselves and ground ourselves. So thank you very much, first of all, for that. And yes, I mean, questions. Go ahead. Just there is no bad question, no wrong
yes,
question. Anything you
yeah. And if
feel like
anyone
asking.
it would like to share which pillar they think they're going to start working on first, or what they might start to do moving forward from this masterclass, if there's anything that's jumped out at them, I'd love to hear. Please.
Don't be shy. Let's share. I mean, I know for me, it will be the mental one,
Right, okay.
because I do a lot of yoga and things like that. And spiritually, I'm very strong as well. But I think it's more the mental side where I need to shut this down a bit, and all the talk, all the chatter.
Yes, yes. The committee.
Yes, yes, yes. But it's that, just even that putting your hand on your heart and breathing, you really feel it. It's just like,
Yes,
it's like
definitely.
it lights up. Dilla says, I'm really looking forward to practicing in the mindful
Oh,
moments in my days,
brilliant.
as well
Thank
as the
you.
pop. Even just the
Yeah,
word pop is nice, right?
yeah.
It's
It just takes you out of it, doesn't it,
yeah,
Pop?
pop. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's quite easy to then remember pause, observe and pivot.
Observe and pivot. Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Pause, observe. And I guess, I suppose one of my questions is, okay, this all sounds great when I'm sitting here and listening to you and all of that, but how do we catch ourselves? Most of this is subconscious, right? It's automatic. Before we
Yes.
know it, we're saying guilty on the mental chatter,
Yeah.
as Sylvia
Yeah.
says. Before we know it, we fall back into this, guilt or critic or, overwhelm, whatever it is. And do you have any tip about how do we teach ourselves to really do this? I mean, okay, you said apps. I mean, that was a good idea. That little,
Yes.
check it, let the alarm go off, stand up,
Yes.
shake about.
Yeah, and maybe just doing a little review at the end of the day.
All
Just
right.
ask yourself what's really helped me today, and what could I what do I want to change a little bit maybe?
Mm-hmm.
Have I slipped into negativity with my thinking, or how did I look after myself today? One thing that's really helpful is it's not gratitude, it's writing down at the end of the day 3 things that you've done just for you.
Right.
Not a gratitude list, just things that have helped you in the day. Like maybe you didn't go to the gym.
Yeah.
I used to write that on mine because I pushed sometimes to go when I was too tired. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it can be, or things like I've cooked myself a nice meal, and all of
Yeah.
those things help to boost your self-esteem because you're looking after yourself.
Or
So
say
that,
no to things, right? No, no to even
yes,
if it's friends, but who always want something. Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So it's
work in
not always,
practice, huh? Yeah, it's not
yes,
easy.
not
We're not
always
used
doing
to saying
something.
no.
It's sometimes not doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
So
okay, I'm sure, Steve, you have the same problems as well, but I do think it's a very typical thing for women as well, that we always feel we should be helping other people, looking after other people first, and that then we just end up completely drained ourselves and incapable of looking after anyone.
yes, definitely. Okay, I think there's someone else doing something
Yeah,
in the
some
chat.
more answers there. Dawn has
Oh,
talked about needing to work on her spiritual pillar.
yeah. So I'd be interested to know how that'll work for you, Dawn, if you want to put something in the chat, what you'll do first. Shall I share my little gift now?
Yeah, you can, and Dawn can come in whenever she can, if she can.
Yeah, if
I
you
don't
want to
know.
take yourself off mute, Dawn, and speak, that's fine, or off camera.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to, right? If some
No,
people
no, of
don't
course not.
particularly want
Whatever's
to,
best for
but
you. Yeah.
I like this one, the superhero,
Yes.
the Wonder Woman pose or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then I've got a little gift of a 21-day well-being course that
Oh,
you can do. It's got all focusing on the 4 pillars of well-being. It's got little activities in there, meditations, and lots of different things to do, just to really start to bring yourself into balance so your table legs are nice, and I'll put it into the chat as well when we finish this. Let me just get that.
wonderful. And so 21 days, it's the idea that it's really going to, rewire, right? That we will get it in
Yes.
there.
Yes, just let me stop the share. I don't know what. Okay, so I'll just put the link in the chat as well in case anyone wants to.
Exactly. I'm busy filling that in now already. I know I shouldn't. I should be listening to you, but I'm thinking if I do it now, right, then there's more
Yeah,
chance of me really doing it. So thank you for that.
you're welcome.
And it is work in progress, isn't it? It's I mean, I dare say you've obviously had a huge journey, right? From being really
Yes,
very poorly to being, vibrant and teaching it to us.
yes,
Um,
yes.
but we can't expect it to happen overnight, right?
No, no. Sorry, I've just realised I put the wrong link in. I'll just have to delete that
Oh,
one. Sorry, everyone. I didn't put the one with the free access. Sorry. Okay. Yes, it's a journey, definitely. It's a journey, and there's little speed bumps in the road, but just to look
right.
at them as a little speed bump. You're always moving forwards. I think that's the important thing to remember.
Yeah.
You know, it's 2 step forwards, 1 step back sometimes, but just to know that while you're on that journey, don't criticize yourself if you have a
Right.
day where you don't do anything. That's part of the whole thing of keeping in balance. It's okay.
It's about self-worth as well, isn't it? That the way
Yes,
we deserve
definitely.
to be feeling well, right? If we talk
Yes,
about from
yes,
worry to well-being, we
yeah,
deserve to be feeling well. We
of
we work
course.
better, we
Yeah,
we
everyone
help better,
does.
we serve better when we feel
Yeah,
well.
yeah, and just remembering that you are important. That's really
Right.
essential, that you're an importance just because you exist, and you're
Yeah.
important enough to spend some time on your own well-being. You know,
I think
if you
that's a very
can't,
important one for Mental Health Day as well, because when
yes,
you think about it,
definitely.
there's so much to come back to how we started this conversation about everything which is going on in the world at the moment,
Mm,
which,
yeah,
I mean, I guess all generations have said that, but to me, it does seem that we really are going through an awful lot of very
yeah,
worrying things, whether wars or climate problems or whatever, diseases or whatever. And we often feel we're not worth much, right? We often feel quite helpless and,
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
so it
What's the
is reminding
point
us that we do,
sort of
right?
thing. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's right in our living rooms, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know, it's right there in front of us. So just taking that time out for yourself and knowing that you're, by being healthy yourself and by being having your four pillars balanced, then you're spreading that out into the world as well.
yeah. And
You know, to
serving as a
the
model as well
community.
for others, right? Especially for
Yes,
those closer
definitely.
to us.
Yes.
It's all about taking responsibility because nobody can do it for us, right? We have
No.
to do it ourselves. It's not
Yeah.
something we can buy or borrow, or
No.
it's really up to us to change our mindset in that way and to acknowledge,
Yes.
what you were saying first, what was it? Name it to tame it.
Yes. Yes. Name
It's
it.
really that idea yeah, what is it exactly?
Yes. And what can I do for myself? I'm taking
Yeah.
responsibility for ourselves. You know, doing
So
it for
this is
our.
something that you coach to other people, or that you also teach coaches to help their clients best?
This is something I do with my clients. I do group coaching programs and I also do one-to-one coaching as well.
Okay.
Empowerment and wellbeing coaching. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Thanks.
I think
Yes.
everybody's finding a lot of worth here.
Yeah, I just find it really really empowering because I find that a lot of people don't realise how important their own self-care is. They
Mm.
just kind of push it onto the back burner when really you can't give from an empty cup.
Exactly. And we
You
usually
know, you've
only
got to,
start thinking of it when it's too late, right? It's like
yes,
health. When
exactly.
we have health, we just keep bulldozing through. And then when
Yes,
we lose it, then we suddenly realize how crucial, right? As in, without
yes,
health, mental
exactly.
health, physical health, we're nothing,
Yes.
right? We can't do
No,
anything.
there's
So
nothing. No, exactly. You can't do anything unless you're balanced and you're looking after yourself holistically.
yeah, and it's quite recent that we do talk about that aspect, right? Increasingly over the
Yes.
years, the last 20, 30 years, we talk about fitness and we talk about what we eat and what we drink and stay away from salt and too much alcohol and processed food and all of that. But we don't, it's only quite recent that we talk about, mental hygiene
Yeah,
and mental
definitely.
self-care.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah,
We're getting
definitely.
lots of thank yous here.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here, and I really hope that you've got some tips for yourself and your well-being. It's been
Thank you,
great
Paula.
to
You
have
certainly did.
everyone.
I mean, I've made copious notes, and I really am, just simple things. That pop will stay with us, and just
Yeah.
standing up to get a different perspective. I mean, those
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
things we don't need to go rereading notes. Those are things we
No,
can
it's
take
just,
on board immediately. So
yeah.
thank you very much for that.
Thank
Well done
you.
to all of you who have prioritized this time in order to learn more about mental health and well-being. We have one more session today. So the session with Sam was cancelled. I guess you've seen that by now. The next session and the last session for today is at 7:30 UK time with Graham Nichols, which was The Truth About Mental Fitness. Now, I will be leaving that one over to Lisa, who will be hosting that one. I hosted the last three and enjoyed it very much. So I wish you all a beautiful journey and continuing and putting this into practice so that we can help ourselves in order to better help others. And I wish you all a wonderful year, right? With a lot of serene mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical health. We deserve it. All the best
Yeah.
to you all.
Okay.
Any last words
Thank
you'd like
you.
to add in, Paula, or anybody else for that matter?
Just to remember to focus on yourself because you're important.
Right.
Put yourself at the top of the list. Self-care isn't selfish.
Very true.
It's
It's
necessary.
crucial, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. All the best to you all.
Thanks.